Welcome everyone to the Yoga Social Justice Challenge Day 3. I'm so excited that we're here. And today we're going to do an activity where you can have a rubber band or like a hair tie, anything that is a little stretchy. And then if you like, I'm going to light a candle for us so you can have your own candle or you can just look at mine. And also your journal. So those are the three things that I invite you to have: a rubber band or hair tie, journal, and candle. And we'll get started in just a moment. Okay. And I'm just checking that we are live on YouTube. I believe we are. We'll take just a moment to get present and to all come into the space. And I'd love to invite you to welcome yourself. Maybe share a word or two words. How are you in this moment? How are you right here and now? Yay, we're live on YouTube, excited and inspired, empowered, calm and connected. Beautiful. Okay. Welcome, and just acknowledging the wonderful composer of the music we've been listening to at the beginning of each day of our challenge is Sarathi Garimella, a South Asian Desi in diaspora composer who reached out to me to say, do you need any music for your classes and practice? And offered to gift me a meditation sound. And then we hired him to produce and create the music for many of our videos that we use. And so shout out to Sarathi. Credits are on all the YouTube videos, so you can research his music there. But I really believe in and appreciate using and connecting to artists, authors, teachers from within the community, right? And uplifting one another. We get to do this together. Amazing. Yes, mahalo Sarathi, feeling okay. I imagine that by the end of today, you will feel very different than you feel right now. However you're feeling, if you feel good, maybe even more good. If you're feeling a little bit tired or like needing inspiration, even just this first practice we're about to do, I think it'll ignite some light. Today is Tapas. Tapas literally means burning fire. The fire of passion, the fire of practice, the fire that gets us on the path, on the spiritual path. And it also is one of the niyamas, the third niyama, so inner yogic codes, as well as a whole class of yogic practices, particularly in ancient times, that were practiced to purify. Remember back to the 4 steps of nonviolent social change that Martin Luther King gave us. So those 4 steps, one of them is purification. This practice is not there for no reason. It's because he studied Martin Luther King through Bayard Rustin and his information. Bayard Rustin went to India, studied with nonviolent changemakers, and they studied those practices, purification practices that yogis have done for thousands of years to be prepared to take aligned action. So we're going to begin. I'm going to light a candle here. And I really love this old school match set that I got in India recently. Fire is really incredible, isn't it? So you can gaze at this flame, or if you have a flame in your own space, you can gaze at the flame, connecting to the universality in this light, the light that has been lit. There are fires in India that have been lit thousands of years ago, and they have never gone out. This fire element is found in nature, and it's in all of us. And so gaze at the candle, take in that flame, and then in a moment, I invite you to let go of the outer sense of fire and let your eyes go soft or gently close. And if you have a candle burning near you, you can keep it lit. But allow your energy and your attention to go to your inner flame. So you might visualize that in your mind's eye, the center of your forehead, or maybe at your heart. And feel the inner fire, Agni, one of the many elements, the 5 elements: earth, Prithvi, water, Jal, fire, Agni, air, Vayu, space, Akash. One of the elements that sits right between the gross and the subtle. It is the bridge between the spiritual and the material. And fire is all around us in the sunlight that powers all life, gives rise to food that we can consume. It's in the electricity that buzzes, that allows us to communicate as we are right now. It's also inside you, in the firing of your synapses as you make new connections, as you're learning new things. In the fire, your inspiration that drives you to take action, to learn, to grow, to change. Early yogis and Ayurvedic practitioners saw Agni as the digestive fire, fire literally in your belly that allows you to digest, to consume and to transform food into fuel, input into nourishment. And so noticing and acknowledging and appreciating that inner fire, that inner Agni. And as you breathe, as you allow your awareness to fill with this flame and light, let it fill your whole body, your whole essence, your whole energy. And then spill out from you and fill the room that you're in, the community, the environment, city, state, landmass, all the way around the world. And you might feel your light touching the light of other yoga practitioners right now doing this practice, and those in the past, in the future. Wow, we are powerful leaders of light, bringing this practice, bringing liberation forward for ourselves and others. And if you're needing a little support, a little nourishment, perhaps taking sustenance on your inhale from the light of others, receiving that. And then if you have overflow, or you feel in this moment like, wow, I feel really filled up, I feel light and powerful, on your exhale, exhaling, breathing it out, lifting up others, sending others some nourishment, some light. And it is this dance of inhale, receiving, exhale, giving. We'll take a few more breaths like this. Inhale, receiving and feeling your light brighten. Exhale, giving, feeling your light brighten as well as you give. Yoga ignites this light that cannot be given, cannot be taken away, that is in you, that can be cultivated. This is a tapas practice. And now let your awareness come back to your own light, you right here and now, and ask yourself, why am I here? Really, why am I here? Here in this challenge, here connecting to yoga more deeply. Also here at this point in your life. And maybe if you want to go there, like, why are you here alive at this time? It's no accident. Am I truly living? Am I truly breathing? Using my breath and my life to take the actions aligned with my purpose, the essence of who I am, this inner fire. And noticing if there are places where you're not aligned, or you don't feel fully expressed, or you don't feel like you're taking action without judgment, noticing those. If you have questions or you're not sure, bringing awareness there. There's nothing wrong with that. That's part of life, part of exploration. One more deep breath in and out. And then we'll gently begin to move our arms away from our body, lifting them up over your head, then come down through heart center, folding your fingers down, but leaving your pointer fingers up for Kali Mudra, like the flame represented in your hands, in your mudra. And then just gaze softly at your fingertips, and you can keep your fingers right there at your heart, or if you like, point them out or up above you, allowing yourself to let your focus, your tapas focus, be clear. And in a moment, we'll move into reflection, being bold, being brave, maybe writing in the chat, maybe writing in your journal. One more breath here in this mudra. Then inhale, lift your hands up if they aren't, and stretch them out, gazing around you, taking in form and color, particularly light. And then we'll come to writing. Why are you here? I'd love for you to write that in the chat or in your journal. And if you are experiencing any blocks, right, you please feel free to write those as well. Why are you here? Okay. Yes. Here to discover, to explore, to find me, here to feel connected and learn more, to come back to my humanity, learn, grow, teach, create community to help people remember we aren't separate. Yes. Yes, I love this. And you can keep them coming. Yeah. Powerful. To give and receive the essence of life that is love, to move through life in the moment, take a breath and feel calm. How is that practice? This is a powerful practice. Candle gazing, tratak, it's a tapas practice, actually. It's a cleansing kriya if you do it without blinking. And it's also a really powerful practice to take us back to that core of ourselves, the inner essence of why we're here, why we're doing what we do. Okay, I'm going to share our winners at the end. So just so you know that I did not forget you, that is coming. I want to teach a little bit, so let's get into it. Day 3, we're lighting our fire, taking aligned action with yoga for social justice. And so we were asking, why are you here, right? Why did you come to this challenge? And exploring a little bit of that answer. And I'm just pulling up the chat for myself so I can see more clearly. To better understand how yoga can support actions I can take to change oppressive systems. Yeah, we're going to go there. So why? I want to ask you to go a little deeper, right? Underneath that why you're here, all these wonderful reasons. Why is that important to you in your life right now? Like, what's the significance of learning how to do no harm, of building community, of serving with integrity? Why is that important to you right now? Yeah. So if you go dig a little deeper, like what's underneath your reason? For me, it's really to express my dharma, right? To connect to why I'm here, what I feel I've been put on this earth to do at this time in this way, and to also live and express in the best way that I know how, like to shine the brightest, to be my fullest self. And you probably can feel it and tell. If you can't, I will say it plainly. I love to teach. This fires me up. This inspires me. It's like the best parts of who I am as a being come together. Artistry, creativity, facilitating group experience, co-learning. It's like this web of knowledge and wisdom. Yoga is a piece. The practices are the piece. Every one of you is a sparkling diamond in this web. I am too. And we all illuminate and learn and grow together. I love this. So you can feel my why beneath, what I'm doing here. It's like, yes, we need yoga and social justice. And there's a personal why. I'm going to read some of what you're saying. It was definitely a calling to be here. Yes. The world needs all of us to step up and be our best selves, to help others do the same. Why is this work important? This time in my life, I'm ready to share my passion for yoga. Yes. Like all experiences with Ignite, because this offering came exactly where I've been guided to learn, explore my purpose during the month of March. Yeah, it's a powerful time, right, of expressing, moving through art, writing, and let that be for everyone, my community, loved ones. Yeah. Harry, I witnessed myself in so many people taking action out of fear and conditioning that cause harm. I want people to slow down, get still, and sense into unity within themselves, the earth, and the divine. Yes, thank you so much for sharing, and you can keep your shares coming. And I'd love for you to reflect on, what do you want for your leadership with yoga and social justice to be like? What might that look like, feel like, be like? And you can keep that part, you can share in the chat if you like, or keep it for yourself. What I'd really love to challenge you to share is if there are obstacles or blocks in the way. That is part of tapas. Tapas is a purification practice. And so there can be so many blocks, insecurities, fears, self-doubt, fear of judgment, wanting to please others, being afraid to speak up, right? I'm naming some of my own. You may have similar ones or your own, but it's really powerful, excuse me, to name them, because then we can transform them. So I'm going to stop sharing, take a sip of water. If you have some water, we're moving energy, right? We've got the fire, we've got water. Fear of speaking up. And Diane, why? What's underneath that fear? Do you know why you're afraid? And again, contextualizing this, like when I think of my grandmother on my father's side or my mother's side, neither of them would have been able to culturally speak up the way that I now can speak up in the causes and conditions that I live in, right? When I think of my great grandmothers, they wouldn't have been able to run, trainings or teach. There were such prescribed rules and so much punishment for breaking out of those rules. And so it's ancestral. We carry it. It's also sometimes conditioned by societal norms like patriarchy, like different gender norms, racism, right? It's not just you, right? It's often internalized oppression or external oppression. So really naming that when we name these fears, they're ours and they're universal. Many of us share them. Most of us have those feelings, but those feelings are connected to systems. And so we can change the systems by changing ourselves. Yes. So fear of leading a class, I can speak up in other situations. I don't know enough. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I so relate. Self-doubt. One class I led is very white and rich, not ideal. However, I feel the need to bring non-Westernized yoga, bringing authenticity and truth. Yeah, block being white or having privilege, right? Whatever your privileges are, and not wanting to take up more space. Yes. Conditioning of the importance of being nice, which generally does no one any good. So feel all of these. Fear of judgment. I'm scared. I'm not enough. I can't do it right. Yeah. I'm going to share a story with you. So my goal is that you're fired up to take action, to embody and honor yoga's roots, take small, large actions, spark social justice movements. And let's all just take another breath, holding space for transformation. Allow yourself to participate, to go in fully, because in that space of commitment, you will change. So my story, I really felt insecure, unworthy. I was often overwhelmed and confused about what was the best and right course of action. I doubted every step, every action, and I spent a lot of time frozen and not acting. And I'm going to just tell you this so I can see you. So one of the things that happened to me in my life, so the story that I want to tell is like, I remember as I was kind of going through my awakening, the spiritual awakening, there's many awakenings, right? When I say my awakening, one of them into the connection of yoga and social justice was there was movement towards the US was going to go to war against Iraq. And so this was after September 11th, so a couple decades ago. And I was a new teacher. I was young, in my early 20s. And I was meditating, practicing yoga really deep, going deeper and deeper into practice. I told you why the last couple of days, because I needed it to try to do my job, right? Just even to show up. And I was on fire and so passionate for peace. It's like, we cannot go to war. This makes no sense. And I had this burning desire to stop the war. And so I volunteered. I went to friend was like, hey, I'm going to this meeting of volunteers who are going to be coordinating and helping out with an anti-war protest in LA. Want to come? Yes, sure. Okay. I'm a little nervous and shy, but yeah, I'll come. So I go, I get in the room. Everyone there is probably, a good couple decades older. Everyone's white except for me and my friend, young man of color. And I'm like, oh, gosh, what am I going to do? How am I going to be of service, right? They're all so knowledgeable. They're all so experienced. Everyone's talking about how to do this protest. They're anticipating 100,000 people will be there. And their job, really what we're tasked with, was keeping the peace. right? Because even peace marches can get very, very heated. There could be protesters, there can be different feelings about what to do on the march, right? Or how to act for peace. And my friend, I'm just like sitting back, listening, watching it all go down. My friend is like, everyone, excuse me, I think she should lead the peacekeeping efforts. She should be the one to lead the team. It's like, what? Why did you say this? I was just here to support. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I had this passion for action. And so I paused and I was like, okay, I've been learning about yoga. Sometimes tapas is taking that next right action, even if we don't feel ready. I'm going to do it. And so I did it. And I had like a headset, the day happened. We had all the plans in place. On the day, I'm helping coordinate. We've got about 40 people at different parts of this 100,000 people march. I think it was even more than that, close to 200,000. And there was a conflict that came up, and it happened to be between an anti-war protester and pro-war protester. Interestingly, it was actually between an argument that was getting really heated, the person who was going to lead the peacekeeping efforts. And I was there, I was called on the headset, I walked up, I had come from meditation earlier that day, I had done my asana practice, I was grounded, and I was able to help with that energy and that presence, diffuse it. It was getting almost to the point of a physical altercation, diffuse it, move along. That moment completely changed my life. I never would have stepped into leadership in that way. One, if my friend hadn't, given me that nudge. And two, if I hadn't been practicing yoga, what I saw in that moment was just acting for peace out of anger actually can produce more anger. But acting for peace from a place of peacefulness can really create ripples of change. And the third thing was, with no time to waste, we're so powerful. And we can do really huge things, like help be a peacekeeper at a giant, protest march. It also doesn't have to be that grand, right? So I hope what I am for you today and always really is that friend, that supportive friend that sees you, spiritual friend really, for who you're becoming and says, yeah, you can do it. You can teach that yoga class. You can lead that community workshop. You can be that person in your family to break cycles. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So the truth is, right, this was the power of practice. It was yoga, it was tapas that allowed me to do that supported me in doing that. And this is the march. So I live it now, right? And I do the best to act in alignment with yogic values. And I know that there's no time to waste. So I'd love to invite you to explore what might you need to learn more about to do the things that you're here to do, be, or share. What courageous action or actions might you need to take? And that can include purification, right? That can include letting go. That can include naming fears or insecurities and yet not being driven by them. So we're igniting our fire, turning this burning passion into action, sharing gifts, vision, and alignment with our values. Just going to pause and look at find a space where you fit in. Yes, welcome. And if folks are just watching this for the first time and you didn't watch any of the other videos, it doesn't matter, right? You're here, be fully present, fully here. If you haven't taken any actions yet, that's okay. You have all week, all month, all year, right? A lifetime to take actions, big or small. So the connection between tapas, yoga, and social justice. Sutra 2.31, all separation is suffering. And in the Chandogya Upanishad, probably the most quoted line from the Upanishads, Tat Tvam Asi, thou art that. You are that. Anything you see, anything in the world, you are that. Yoga is connection. Then Yoga Sutra 1.3, Hada Drasta Svarupe Vashtanam. The seer dwells in their own true splendor. When that is accomplished, the seer abides, the practitioner abides in their own true nature. So the more that we can come into that essence, that fire, that soul call, the more we shine and the more we help abide in our own true nature and help others do the same. So that internal flame that motivates us is tapas in yoga philosophy. It literally means tap, to burn. It's not just the third niyama, but a whole category of purification practices and disciplines undertaken by early yogis. And it's important to know that, right? To learn, to honor, to embrace yoga's roots. It's also important to say that not every, and I'm gonna stop sharing so I can see you and connect with you. It's tapas practices today and historically are also very different, but there's what connects them is the element of purification, which is also one of those movements towards social change. In the early days, one might do a tapas practice of, say, standing on one leg and doing a certain pranayama for a long time, days, weeks, months. And at this point, many of us are engaged. We're in the world. We're caring for others. We have responsibilities. Doesn't make sense. It's not the same context to do that kind of practice. Although if you're drawn to that, wonderful. And there are ways and pathways to do that kind of renunciate practice. But many of us are engaged yogis. We're engaged practitioners. And so for you or I, it might be a practice of tratak, of candle gazing. In the evening, it might be your asana in the morning. It might be mindfulness through your day. It might be courageous conversations, ahimsa, practices of self-care and care in the world, right? There's so many ways to practice this kind of sensory focus, pratyahara, that's in the yogic tradition. And remember that no one way is better than any other. It's unique. Yoga is unique to you. Yoga historically has also been a huge inspiration and bridge to action for freedom. It's been a candle lighting the way in nonviolent India, overthrowing British rule, as well as in the civil rights movement. So remember these 4 steps: collection of the facts, negotiation, self-purification, tapas, and also another form of tapas, direct action, taking action. Do every action you must do. Do not be attached to your actions, fruits. This skill in action is yoga. That's the Bhagavad Gita. So we talked a little bit about the blocks, what's getting in the way. Maybe keep reflecting and you can keep naming them if there's things below that, below that, below that. For me, when I really go deep, it comes back to belonging. It comes back to feeling like if I'm judged, if people don't like me, I don't belong. And that need, that deep craving to belong, and not just to others, but truly to myself. And again, yoga gives us power. No one can give us and no one can take away. And so as we do the self-inquiry with the practice, we can uncover and maybe move through those blocks. I love this sign. This is not a moment. It is the movement, and we are all leading this movement. So rubber band, right? And because there's tension between, just looking at your notes again, like what's underneath your blocks, underneath and getting in the way. Yes. So if you have over here, right, say like insecurity or fear of being judged, and then you have over here your vision, how and where you want to lead, you can imagine, and if you've got a rubber band or a hair tie, you can hold like this, or if you prefer, you can, put your hands like this. There's tension. Yoga is holding tension. Tapas practices hold tension. Also, asana is a form of practice of focusing mind, body, spirit to hold tension in a shape, in a pose, warrior 1, warrior 2, any shape, right? And if you hold this tension and you pull too hard, what happens? The rubber band, it's going to break, or you lose, one side falls apart. And no new understanding or growth happens. If you don't hold the tension, you give up, you say, oh, I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to not teach. I'm not going to share. I'm not ready. It's okay, right? Like there are times, but it goes slack and no growth or learning is there in that moment. But if you continue to hold the tension, holding it, breathing with it, bringing the yogic tools to it, what happens is a new way is formed. So it's like, if this is a pole here and this is a pole here, there's a new way. This is Hegelian dialectics for anyone who studied philosophy, which I did. But where did Hegel get this? Right? A German philosopher, and I think he was around in like the 19th century, from yoga philosophy. All of more early or more recent Western philosophy, many of those philosophers were reading and studying Chinese and Indian, Asian thought, African thought. And so this dialectic of point A, point B, and a new way, right? Concrete example, I'll just, again, give a personal example. The institution of marriage, did not want to participate in it, rebelling against the institution of marriage. This is, again, personal, right? For me, this was an application of yoga for me. I did not want to be bound by an institution. I was rebelling against it. Then I realized, wait a second, I don't have to either be a part of it or completely fight against it. There can be a way to be in partnership that is not codependent, that maybe can be poly, that maybe can be free, where I can be my full self. I'm not controlling anyone else and they're not controlling me. There's another way. I don't have to just react to the pull of the thing and either do the thing or be in opposition to the thing. I can create my own new way. And then what happens is that becomes, right, it's new pull, and then something else, and this is growth. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So I want to just illustrate this just slightly further for you. Is this making sense? The rubber band holding tension. Tapas is a creative way of holding tension in our lives to get to a new way. So learning more, holding creative tension with our blocks, challenges, creates new possibilities, helps us be agents of spiritual possibility, getting to new ways. So Kali Mudra, also that mudra that we practiced, before we take action, we're purifying. So starting with care for your own purification, then moving into disciplined and clear action. What aligned actions do you need to, is your next step? Like, what's the next right step? And what do you need to learn about more? And what action of purification would you like to take before you act? So we'll move into the challenge. I'm just going to pause and look at your comments. Yes. Yes, someone mentioned, thank you for dropping Yoga Changemaker, Mag. It's so important to also acknowledge the harm that it has existed in the history and the lineage of yoga. And that harm is often to do with human systems and structures of oppression, caste oppression, patriarchy, gender-based oppression, oppression based on, what role folks are assigned to in the caste hierarchy. It's very problematic and really, really harmful. It's not just in the past, even though caste is abolished, just like racism, there's no Jim Crow laws, but race affects everyone. Same with caste in India and in the diaspora. And there's incredible movements alive now. And like literally right now to ban caste oppression in California, in Seattle, in states across the country, in the United States and in the world. And so these are things to connect to learn about, to be in solidarity with, whether you're Indian or not, right? To learn as part of the yoga tradition and part of yoga practice, wherever there is cause for separation, whatever's causing separation, how can we learn to create more unity? So one of the things I'm personally doing, right, if I'm to answer the question, I need to learn more about the movement for caste equity, particularly in California. And then secondly, take action to support. I think there's going to be a bill to make discrimination based on caste illegal, just like discrimination based on ability, gender, religion, right? Race is illegal. Caste is not a protected category yet, but it will become one. And that's something that I, as a yoga practitioner, and believe that is an action that I can take. So, and not just believe, no. Okay, so yoga is this bridge to learning, to service, to action, to lighting your fire. I love to ask, how can I be a channel for authentic yoga to move through me? What does yoga want of me today? Being of service. And so the invitation is to practice, if you'd like to do this on social media or just in your own life, to take this poem. And I did a half sun salutation with star and a prasarita padottanasana, wide leg forward fold. I'll show you in a moment. I honor yoga, igniting light by holding tension for equity. I invoke yoga as unity. Let me be a bridge to action for justice. Yoga moves through me, igniting the fire of yoga as unity. And so you can practice that. And I did one where, I came together, salutation, you can do it seated, standing, with the poem here, raising my hands up, folding forward, coming back to star, wide leg forward fold, and then coming back up, right? So simple flow, you can customize it, create it how you want. How are you embodying? How are you allowing yoga to speak through you, to teach through you? Yes. Yes. Okay, great question. I will answer your question about the slides shortly. Okay, so any questions about tapas and our invitation? 5 minutes to be the light, the half salutation, your service, your commitment, your action. You can share that on Instagram or TikTok, tag me, hashtag Yoga Social Justice Challenge. We can all support one another. Any questions about that? And then I'd love for you to share what's resonating. What did you like? What have you appreciated about the challenge? And then in a second, I'd love to share some ways that we can keep working together. This is really just the beginning, right? So if you would like to hear, and even if it's not the right time for what I'm going to share, maybe it like goes on your vision board. Okay. Any way to see the poem again? Yes. Okay. There we go. You can screenshot. It's also on my social media on Instagram if you'd like to copy it from there, or duet or remix. I always really like remixing folks' stuff. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to share a little bit about a program that I have coming up, because I am here and I do what I do. I teach because I see a world where all yoga teachers are culturally connected, aware, trauma-informed. It's going to happen. It's going to happen in our lifetimes, where yoga is accessible to all and taught by so many, and where all yoga teachers and practitioners know how to embrace and not appropriate and feel confident in sharing the full expanse of this practice. So if you resonate with that, I want to let you know that today we're opening enrollment for our YTT 300 hour. And I want to share with you a little bit about it because there's nothing else like it out there. It is and so again, even if it's not the right time now, I'd love to share and have you explore it and just kind of use it as a model or an example, or again, put it on your vision board if it's something you'd like to do now or in the future. It's a transformative teacher training where you would learn to embody yoga's roots, bring yoga off your mat into your entire life, and deepen in yoga for personal and social change. It is a flagship program recognized internationally as a foundation and an example for other yoga teacher trainings around the world. These are our faculty for this upcoming training, faculty and staff. We have so many different teachers, and we really hold that space together with lead trainers and myself, and then also faculty. So it's a flagship training recognized as raising standards for YTTs. It's full of authentic yoga teachings broken down really clearly. You can see here, this is an example of Module 1, Class 3, Yoga Ethics, Yamas and Niyamas. There's a library of very short and bite-sized, easy to understand depth lectures around yoga practices, and then we meet live weekly. So Module 1, what is yoga? Yoga's roots, history, and culture, the path, yoga ethics, the 4 types of yoga, intro to Sanskrit, pronunciation guide, names of poses, and also into practice. Yoga asana is a huge part of a spiritual tool and vehicle in yoga. We also caucus. So we meet in BIPOC only spaces or white caucus spaces to learn how to be change makers dealing with our particular identities. Trans and non-binary folks caucus, neurodivergent learners focus, right? So we meet in these different structures so we can go deeper. Every single person who goes through the training is invited to do a couple projects. There's some really fun ones. They're experiential, like the energy like when we're studying yoga energy anatomy, there's an energy anatomy project, which is like living and embodying the magic and energy of yoga. There's an Ayurvedic project and a yoga social change project. There's various touch points for support, one-on-one with your mentor, group, Q&A, office hours, depth lectures, practice teaching, intensives. So there's so much support. I would say the biggest thing that I experience is a feeling of belonging, because there's just no other space like this. There's weekly themed calls with me, as well as weekly mentorship. This is a little more into the curriculum. This is from the 200-hour, but the 300-hour is similar and even more in depth, honestly, with pronunciation, poses, going into the philosophy, and all of the roots, right? So the names. So let's see if, yeah, so great question. Yeah, so many amazing teachers. And thank you, Andrea, for dropping the, let me see, if I do this, can you see, do you see my screen with the slide, or do you see, I think you don't. So if you're wanting to go deeper in a practice, the way we do it is we do not require you to have a 200-hour. You could, but you don't have to. You just have to have some experience with yoga and to do a 300-hour. And this is the page that has a lot more information. Andrea dropped the link, and maybe you can drop it again. And in it, there's a lot more info. I'd love to invite you to go and look, go and explore. Like, this is a space for all of us, right? For folks of color, for queer folks, disabled folks, right? For us to heal from internalized depression, shame, using these practices for white folks, for allies, accomplices, to deprogram from white supremacy and take action, speak up confidently. And there's also in here all of the, each module, from the mantra mudra meditation to living yogic lifestyle, yoga for social justice, energy anatomy, the guest teachers and what they're teaching, teaching accessibly, teaching to every body, accessible yoga, yoga for social change and leadership out in the world, the ethical business strategy. So a lot of yoga trainings talk about business of yoga a little bit, but we're really going into it, but in an ethical way. Explains why we caucus. There's some videos from our grads and folks who are sharing with you about what the value is of the training. So much here. And then if you have any questions, there's FAQs at the bottom. And one of the questions I saw you, oh, and I do want to just point this out. When you click on the apply, it takes you to an application. I would strongly recommend you apply, and because these fill up quickly, and it asks you, like, why are you interested in participating? What does decolonizing yoga mean to you, right? And right now, normally the training is $4,999. There's an early bird pay in full of $4,297 or a deposit of $997 and 4 monthly payments of $450. So it's an investment because it is like a college program. It is not a fluffy or light. It's a really deep training in, for those of you who are thinking about, like, it's like a certification in community leadership and social change and a yoga teacher training, something you could take at a university. And it's unique. Staff, right? So many folks supporting you. So we fill our regular spots first, and then based off the folks who are in the training, we do a percentage of scholarships. If you're interested in scholarships, then please email booking@ignitebewell.com and we can drop that email in the chat. But right now we're in the open enrollment for all of the regular spots. And it is an investment. I know for me, when I took my teacher trainings, it was like something I had to work towards, save up, and really prioritize. And it completely changed my life because I was able to really embody the practices and teachings of yoga in a new way. So any other questions? Just looking. Yes, thank you. So I'm just checking to see if there's any other questions that you have. And I want to go to our winners in a second, so we can share. Let me pull this up. Okay. Let's see, it's just going to take me 1 second to pull up the yes, so there was a question about if I will be able to share the slide deck. So I think give me just a second because I'm pulling up all our winners. Okay, got them. The vision board suggestion for YTC 300. Yeah, you appreciate that. Yes. And we run once a year. So that's something to note. And I will say we're in the middle of creating a whole new exciting tech project that will support yoga teachers like you, practitioners like you, connecting with one another. I'm thrilled about it. It is in the works, but there's possibility that what I do yearly, I run a 200 and 300, might shift in the future. So just letting you know that if this is like, I want to do it now, like, see if you can. And the trainings will hopefully happen in the future, but I'm not, normally I can guarantee it. I'm not able to guarantee it right now because of these new things that are coming. So, I'll just read. Deborah, it was fantastic. Going through this training was one of the most positive learning experience I've ever had. I was transformed. I got what it was like to be in a nurturing learning setting. I could show up to class exactly where I was at. Amanda, who did one of the early trainings. We've run about 10 of these now. 4 on this will be the 4th online. This YTT gave me more confidence in teaching. Its great energy and incredible community. It taught me the meaning of yoga with an open heart and the wisdom of oneness. And Amanda teaches yoga in Espanol and is a fitness coach. Micus, the community through this training was magical, to say the least. I felt seen. It was wonderful to see other people go through the experience and to connect. So apply, fill out the application, check out the page, and let's celebrate. So you did it. Now giveaways. So I'd love for everyone to drop what you're excited about deepening with yoga now. You can drop that in the chat. And then our 3 winners will get to choose an item from Yoga Changemaker. And the first 10 people to apply and enroll get their choice of merchandise from the Yoga Changemaker store. So once you apply and enroll, we'll email you if you're one of the first 10, and you get to pick something from the Changemaker store. I love the Yoga is Sovereign t-shirt. I have my yoga isn't something you do, it's something you are. Water bottle, there's water bottles, shirts, sweaters. Okay. Yoga is a journey of the self, through the self, to the self. And thank you so much for being part of this. I'd love to keep this going. Love this. Join me. It's so much fun inside the YTT 300. We see each other every day. So, or every week. Let me share our winners. Yeah, the Yoga Sovereign. It was designed by a grad. How cool is that, right? So, okay. Let me see if I can do this. Why is so our winners, there we are. Our first winner, you know what? I have to optimize for video.
South Asian practitioners. Here are just a few to follow. At Tiwari Yoga. At Wellness by Bhumika. At Sanals Harma Yoga. It's Sandeep Sharma Yoga. At Hanika Petal. Let me know what other South Asian practitioners I should follow in the comments.
And how cool is that?
Hashtag Yoga Social Justice Challenge. Day 2. Satya, Truth. My truth is, part of decolonizing yoga is recentering South Asian practitioners.
So you, Babuhe Yoga, you get to choose something from the Changemaker store. That's Cassie. Next, we've got Jessie C. Yoga.
I am a truth seeker. I am a truth teller. I touch the truth. The truth touches me. I know the truth. And the truth knows me. I am the truth. The truth is me.
I love this. Thank you so much. And our last winner is Maharani Movement.
When we are the beginning, it is up to us.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your presence. Congratulations to the winners. We're all winners because we're here lifting up and embodying the practices of yoga for personal and social change. I truly hope I get to see you inside the YTT 300. And if you have any questions, you can email us at booking@ignitebewell. So much gratitude to each of you. Congratulations to all of you. And let's keep this movement going and growing. I'll see you soon. Thank you.